Conger tells us he expects the Montana crews will be in California at least for the next couple of weeks, and conditions permitting, they're expected to be back home December 21st. Licenses to take part in Fish, Wildlife, and Parks special chronic disease hunt in Carbon County go on sale this coming Monday. The hunt itself begins next Saturday. The special hunt was approved by the Fish and Wildlife Commission after 6 deer tested positive for CWD for the first time in Montana this fall. CWD is a progressive, fatal neurological disease that affects deer, elk, and moose. The goal of the special hunt is to collect a statistically valid sample of both the mule deer and whitetail populations in the area.
We know where the 6 deer that have tested positive were standing when they were harvested. We want to know how big an area they are in, and of them, what percentage of that herd has chronic wasting disease. We really would like to see no more than 5%, and if we can hold it to less than 5%, the sciences say that it won't get out of hand. It's when it starts getting up into that 15–20% range is when it really explodes and whole populations get sick, and in some instances have either blinked out or have become very thin in Colorado and Wyoming.
Now, the hunt area covers some 1,200 square miles, beginning just south of Laurel and stretching all the way to the Montana-Wyoming state line. Successful hunters will be required to submit their animals for CWD sampling within 72 hours of harvest. A special check station will be set up in Joliet during the special hunt, and samples can also be brought to the Region 5 headquarters here in Billings during regular business hours. In Helena, officials at the State Department of Revenue say the Republican tax cut bills now before Congress could have a big impact on the state budget. In a memo this week, State Revenue Director Mike Cadiz says the Senate tax cut bill would reduce state revenues by as much as $123 million a year. That's a huge increase from the agency's estimates just 2 weeks ago. The big change is largely due to how the Senate bill treats business income, allowing for large deductions that will narrow Montana's income tax base. But Brent Mead with the Montana Policy Institute disagrees. He believes the final bill will benefit Montana taxpayers and the state's economy. But Cadiz is not as optimistic.
It's a huge giveaway to very, very large corporate taxpayers. The corporate tax system generates about 1/5 of what the personal income tax system does, yet under this plan, the corporate tax system is getting about half of the reductions. So proportionately, there's way more reductions going to very large corporate taxpayers.
A conference committee made up of House and Senate Republican leaders in Congress are now in the process of trying to iron out the differences between the two versions of the bill. Well, just 1 week left in the open enrollment period for Montanans who get their health insurance through the individual exchange that was created by the Affordable Care Act. Tonight, MTN's Jonathan Amberian brings us a closer look at who is signing up so far.
5 weeks into the open enrollment period, Montana insurers and regulators agree the number of people signing up for health coverage on the individual market is close to what was expected.
We've seen a lot of activity since day one, a lot of interest in our customer service lines and our agent offices, looking at the benefit designs for this year, looking at the costs for this year.
Enrollment started on November 1st and will continue through December 15th. The open enrollment period was cut roughly in half this year, but State Auditor Matt Rosendale, Montana's insurance commissioner, says it doesn't appear the shorter window will reduce the number of Montanans signing up.
The insurers, again, have told me that everything is going smooth. The numbers are coming in where they anticipated them to be.
As of December 2nd, the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services reported more than 18,000 Montanans have signed up for plans through healthcare.gov. But that number doesn't include others who extended their policies directly through the insurance companies. In addition, those who already have individual market plans will be automatically re-enrolled in their current plan or the most similar option if they don't make a change during open enrollment. Rosendale says it's important for anyone getting insurance on the individual market to look at all the choices they have.
It's critically important for folks to continue to shop. They can get information at MontanaHealthAnswers.com.
John Doran with Blue Cross Blue Shield advises them not to wait until the last minute.
We've seen in previous years where the last couple of days of open enrollment, the website can really get a crush of activity, which tends to slow things down.
In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Now, by the end of the open enrollment period, it is estimated between 50,000 to 60,000 Montanans will have signed up for their health coverage through the individual exchange. Those final numbers likely won't be available, though, until January. The U.S. Marine Corps' Toys for Tots campaign is getting ready to hand out presents to children. The distribution center now being set up where families can pick up those presents. Q2's David J. is joining us now from Metro Park, live tonight, where the final push to gather the toys is on. David.
Well, Jay, we're right here at the entrance to the parking lot at Metro Park where they are collecting toys. They started at 6 o'clock this morning. Lots of people involved, including Ernie Lee from Rimrock Auto Group. And Ernie, you say that you're out here motivated because you want to help the kids in the community out.
Most definitely. We're really fortunate with the Rimrock Auto Arena that we have here, that we had an accumulation of time that we could donate to the U.S. Marine Corps. So we have the toy center that is being set up right by St. Vincent de Paul to get toys out to our local community, the kids that really don't have those choices available to them.
Okay, and we've also got Vicki Massey from the St. Vincent de Paul Society. You say pretty good turnout, pretty good sign-ups so far at this point.
Very good sign-ups. We are completely full. We've taken well over 900 families.
And the distribution is going to be going on here starting on Tuesday.
Starting Tuesday morning through Saturday afternoon in the Expo building of Metro Park.
Okay, and Sergeant Rufus McCarley, how are things going out here? It's this final push you get going here on Friday evening.
You know, I've actually been really surprised at the turnout that we've had today. You know, we've had to take a few boxes into the distribution center, but you know what? It's still, we still need more. We're always looking for more toys. We're definitely still looking for those teenage groups, and you know, it's been great. We've been out since about 6 o'clock this morning. We'll be out here till 8 o'clock tonight, and you know, I just encourage everybody just to come out and show your support to the children in this community.
Okay, great. Those are 3 people out here. We've heard that they've had like 300 volunteers out here. The Sergeant Rufus McCarley, Vicki Massey, and Ernie Lee, all out here. They're going to be out here until 8 o'clock tonight. The final push for Toys for Tots out here at the Metro Park parking lot. That's the latest out here. Jay, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, David. By the way, Davis tells us the distribution of those toys gets underway next week. Up next on Q2, people are rallying to help Glacier Park's Sperry Chalet rise from the ashes. We'll bring you the story and what's next. Also tonight, later in sports, it is December Madness across the Magic City. Tonight, all 6 AA teams in action, including the senior boys who have high expectations.
And coming up in weather, the weather's been topsy-turvy around the country today. Here in the Billings area, we warmed up to 57 degrees, while down south, they're shoveling out record snow. We'll take you there in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader. Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 5:30 News continues on Q2, Montana's news leader.
The historic Sperry Chalet in Glacier National Park was among the biggest losses in this summer's wildfires there. But already plans are in the works to rebuild the historic structure. MTN's Dennis Bragg tonight has the latest for us.
Amidst all the fire in western Montana this summer, perhaps no piece of the destruction hit people as hard as when the Sprague fire destroyed the Sperry Chalet. Despite efforts to protect the century-old structure, a weak spot, a gap under the eaves, was the chalet's undoing.
Ember flew in underneath, unobserved, and by the time the fire was observed, it was coming from the inside. That's exactly what happened at Sperry. So firefighters were on the scene. They'd wrapped the wooden parts of Sperry. They were ready to fight the fire. It just got inside before they could do anything about it.
Fortunately, quick action by the Glacier National Park Conservancy, the park, and local construction crews was able to come up with a plan to save the historic stone walls. Planning started the morning after the fire, and using the brief window before winter set in, engineers came up with a plan to brace the remaining structure against the winter storms.
I get a lot of emails saying those 2x4s will never hold anything. I would agree if they were 2x4s. They are 6x6 inch studs with 18-inch long bolts and rebar screws as well in them. This is built to stay. This is a very stout piece of infrastructure.
The Conservancy is working on fundraising plans and supporting the park's efforts to evaluate the engineering report for a long-range rebuilding plan. Ideas have focused on clearing away debris, even reusing some of the remains, and the new timbers already brought to the site.
To take these great minds, great craftspeople we have in Montana, volunteers, thousands of them, and with our own two hands, do what the people did in the 1910s, which is rebuild with our own two hands another icon for future generations, for the next 100 years of park visitors.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Well, thanks, Dennis. You can learn more about the Sperry Chalet reconstruction and other efforts underway by the Glacier National Park Conservancy. It's on this weekend's Face the State program. Face the State airs Sunday morning here on Q2 at 6:30 a.m. If you don't get up that early, well, our advice is set the DVR. Up next in weather, Bob says our temperatures could hit the 50s again through the weekend, but so might the wind speeds. Details in your weekend forecast right after this break.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire.
Good evening, everybody. Last night we showed you record snow in Texas. This is Birmingham, Alabama. They were making snowmen out there today. That's right. This is 5 inches of new snow in Birmingham. Most snow they've had in a long, long time, in years, I'm told. And it created all sorts of traffic nightmares today, but it sure looked pretty. They did even have some power outages today. That doesn't look like Birmingham, Alabama, does it? Well, let me show you what Montana looks like. Look at this. Red Lodge Mountain sent us this video today. They are getting ready to open what? Coal Creek. That's right. And as you can see, yeah, this is video from it today. Cool looking picture there, right? Let me show you one other picture. This is a moose by Janet Wired, and she said this was in her backyard on Grand Avenue. 69th and Grand, so way out there in the West End, but still be careful out there. There's a moose on the loose, and they get very persnickety this time of year. Let me show you what's happening in Billings right now. Hey, we've got a nice night. Clear skies, 49 degrees, west wind at 22 miles per hour, gusting to 32 miles per hour. That's the problem. This time of year in December, to get warm temperatures into the 40s and 50s, you got to have some downsloping winds off the Beartooth Mountains. That's what we've had today. Now, you'll notice here, our high temperature 57, normal high 36, the record 66 back in 39, and 25 below zero back in 1972. Precipitation, nothing new to fall in our area today, but you'll notice we're at 1700, so we're still ahead of normal for the month of December, but for the year we're still way ahead of normal at 1599. And as you can see, our current temperatures right now into the 20s out in the southwest. We're a little cooler up in the higher elevations. Down here on the eastern slopes of the divide where we get those downsloping winds, it has cooked us up into the 40s still at this hour. A little farther away from the mountains, we're a little bit cooler again back into the 30s over here. So here's the story for us tonight. Take a look. We will get ahead and make this move on. You'll notice we still have some dangerous crosswinds on Interstate 90 by Big Timber and also up towards Harlingen on US 191. But look at the clear skies over all of Montana. Most of the cold and cloudy weather that has slipped over here in towards the Dakotas. And the reason being, well, that big ridge of high pressure that started here in the Great Basin area is slowly encompassing Montana. As it does so, it's pushing most of that colder air and also most of the cloudy skies over into the Dakotas. Now, let's go a little bit farther to the southeast. Look what's happening down here. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia here, and Birmingham's right around here. And look at the snow that fell through here. Up in some cases up to 6 to 10 inches of snow, and it's still snowing. It goes all the way up towards Virginia, in towards Maryland, and even to parts of Dover, Delaware. They're seeing some snow in that area today. Bizarre, isn't it? Back here in Montana, we've got high pressure, high temperatures, mostly sunny skies today. We'll continue to keep that. Most of the moisture is shooting up and around us, and we're going to be that way all the way through the weekend. You'll notice here on Saturday, 6 p.m., mostly sunny skies again. And then as we head into Sunday, still not bad, but look what's coming in here. Later that Sunday night, we do see another cold front pushing through. Doesn't have a lot of moisture with it, but it will bring us some cooler temperatures by the time Monday gets here. In the meantime, tonight, teens and single digits out in the west, 20s back here in the east, and generally clearing skies, maybe 30s over here in Billings, Hardin 30 degrees, 26 in Miles City. Tomorrow, 40s and some 50s, 56 in Billings tomorrow in the far west, mostly 30s and sunny skies out there. Tonight at 10 o'clock, it's going to be 39 degrees, clear, and 35 in the morning, 46 by noontime, 42 by 6 p.m. Next 7 days. Hope you like some 50s, 56 degrees Saturday, breezy conditions, 53 on Sunday and windy, 49 Monday because that cold front's moving through, then back up to 54 on Tuesday, 40s on Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe back up to 50 degrees on Friday, but we have a few cloudy skies rolling in. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Casey Conlon manning the sports desk for us tonight, and it is a busy night for you.
A hoophead's dream in Billings tonight. Games across the city, including the girls' state favorites out of Missoula. Other news out of Missoula, not so good for a former Billings star. Bobby Houck announces which Grizz staff he's keeping and which he's not. Coming up.
Time now for sports with Casey Conlon.
The winter sports season technically started last week, but tonight marks the first full slate of games across the Magic City with all 6 AA teams in action against the Missoula schools. Seniors boys already have a win under their belt, and they're looking for a lot more of those than they had last year. The Broncs were just 6-12, but return almost their entire team inside and out. And that balance is the key.
We probably have 3 different starting lineups that we could go with this year. We go big, we can go smaller, so there's a lot of different things that we can do, and that's exciting as a coach, to find some energy from other guys, and be maybe 9 or 10 deep.
We have a lot of different threats, so just whoever we match up good against the week, I think we'll just throw our players in there and whoever's playing well.
We can go small kind of with Ben starting, or we can add the 2 6-7 kids in there, so we can go either big or small, and we can get out and run too. So.
On the girls' court, Missoula Sentinel is again the team to watch. The Spartans are coming off another state volleyball title, but it's last year's basketball title game loss that has them focused. MTN's Derek Berkeley reports.
Sentinel finished off a second straight volleyball state championship in November, and just a few days later, many of the same stars got back on the court and got back to work.
We still made sure we got our celebrating in, and, the win still felt great, but after having 3 days of rest, we were ready to turn back around and chase another one.
Personally, coming off a state championship, I think that really helped boost us into basketball season and get us really motivated, especially with what happened last year in basketball.
Last year would be considered an outstanding success for most programs. Sentinel only lost once in the regular season and advanced to the state championship game. But a 46-41 loss to Helena in the final left the Spartans short of their ultimate goal.
To wind up just 6 points short of a state championship, but it's really motivated us this year, and it's kind of more like a revenge season to show what we have.
What they have will make opposing coaches sweat. Last year, the Spartans suffered through several injuries to key players and limped into state not at full strength. Now almost the whole team returns, and they all bring athleticism, size, and plenty of length.
If we wanted to, we could have maybe 5'10", 5'11" on every single position on the court.
I think it's something that other teams are going to maybe struggle with, is how to defend us, especially when we have really tall guards and our posts are really powerful and tall down there.
Most players have a state experience behind them that we're going to know what it's like, and we're going to be ready to compete.
West draws the first shot at Sentinel tonight. They're just underway at the Golden Dome with 5:45 tip-offs. Senior and Hellgate going downtown, and Skyview gets Big Sky up on the hill. All 6 highlights tonight. All 3 AA wrestling programs, meanwhile, are in Butte this weekend for the annual Mining City Duels. The 2-day tournament opened this morning. We'll start with Senior against Dillon. Going over to Butte, we're going to pick it up at 103 pounds. Alejandro Madrid gets the Broncs off to a strong start with a pin. Madrid finished second at the Sydney invite last week. More Senior at 145. Caden Benbow pins Peter Gibson. Senior would win the match easily 64-12. West with a tougher start. The Bears taking on Great Falls High. The Bison's Easton Shoup looking for a pin at 113. He won't get it, but he will get 3 points for the near fall and the win. Great Falls rolls 56-16. We're going to have more from the championship matches in Butte tomorrow in sports. We saw the first recruiting dominoes fall last weekend for Bobby Houck with pictures of him and Justin Green in living rooms in the Northwest. So we figured Green would be a part of Houck's staff, and he will be. Houck announcing today he'll keep Green, offensive line coach Chad Germer, safeties coach Shan Schillinger, and strength coach Matt Nicholson. Those 4 will return to the Grizz football staff. Here's the 6 that will not return. Defensive coordinator Jason Seymour and special teams coordinator Travis Niekamp at the top of the list, but also noted of Billings, Andrew Sell, the former West High and Grizz great, will not return as the quarterback's coach. Neither will Mike Ferreter, Joe Hall Jr., or Brian Hendricks. He'll fill out the rest of his staff in the next month. Tonight at 10, we'll have highlights of round 2 of the National Finals Rodeo from Las Vegas. Only Cali, Wyoming's J.R. Vizane was able to win money in round 1 last night. Montanans hoping for a better go. In the meantime, we're back here in a moment.
Bob, you mentioned we like the warmer temperatures, but
Yes.
it's the wind that we're not fond of.
That's the problem. This is what happens this time of year. In order to get those warmer temperatures, you have to have downsloping winds off the Beartooth Mountains because we don't have enough daylight time to really cook up the air like we did in the summer. So you got to have some other method, and that's the windy conditions. Unfortunately, it feels kind of bad in the process, but hey, it looks pretty good on the paper. Let me show you what we're going to see. 56 degrees on Saturday, but it will be breezy, windy on Sunday. I think it's going to be like 25-mile-per-hour winds on Saturday, maybe up to 30-mile-per-hour winds on Sunday. But temperature still into the 50s. 49 on Monday. Another cold front starts moving through that night, Sunday night, and it cools us down by Monday. But then after that, we warm back up into the 50s again. So good-looking week ahead.
Casey, you have enough help tonight? You got games all over the place.
I think we've got our first Sports Extra Friday night.
All right.
Covered.
We'll see you back here at 10. We'll see all those highlights at that time. Have a great night.